Good morning. Boy, am I glad to be talking to you guys this morning and headed to the woods. It is October the 10th and it's been a full week since I've been in the woods, and the stealth cams have really been going off over the last week. That shooter that I saw the night I killed my doe in daylight has been on the fringes of daylight morning and evening, but I have not had a daylight picture of him yet. But 2 mornings ago, I had my number 1 and number 2 shooters in broad daylight at like 8:50 in the morning. And there's just been an incredible amount of deer on my stealth cams over there this week. It's really been unbelievable. So going in there in the morning is going to be tricky. I'm kind of torn on where I want to set up. There's still a ton of activity up on top of the ridge where that oak tree is, where I killed the doe out of. That camera has been hot, but if I set up for the 2 shooters that was in daylight 2 mornings ago, I need to set up completely different. And I think it's going to depend on if we run into many deer in the dark or whatever. But we're going to have to make a decision. But we're going to head over that way. It'll take us about 25 minutes to get there. We're about 5:15, so we're doing okay on time. Not quite as early as I'd hoped to be, but we're still plenty early enough. So I'll see you guys here in a few. I haven't even done a freaking interview this morning. It is 7:21. It's been shooting light for less than 30 minutes. Legal shooting light, that is. I think that's my #1 buck too. Babe, I killed my buck. Yes. Thank you. I think it's my #1 deer. Like, yes, I'm excited. Thank you. I was just gonna call you and tell you. Alright, well, I just tore my set down, and man, what a morning. Not just killing a buck, but had a ton of action, and it is early. I mean, I'm sure it's 10 till 9. I'm sure I could have sat longer, but I don't know how many deer I saw. I probably saw 10 deer, 6 or 7 bucks. I think I saw 2 of my 3 shooters for sure. Obviously the one I shot, but you probably hear the motocross in the background. But here's the setup. This is actually the same tree that I killed my doe in last week. And if there's one thing that you guys at home can learn from my 2 hunts or successful harvests this year, is these woods are covered with white oaks. I mean, the white oak behind me right here, it's a white oak right there. I mean, these woods are just tons of them, and they're all dropping. And you'll see these deer filter through the woods and pick a few acorns as they go. But this one tree right here, it's this big one right there. For whatever reason, it is preferred. Like, this tree right here has been a magnet for deer. So remember that. Just because there's white oaks, just because there's acorns dropping, doesn't mean there's not a preferred tree. These deer are walking through acorns to get to this tree. And you can see I was in that little white oak right there. I was up there about that limb, and I shot. You can see my lighted knock, hopefully, like right there. We're going to check the arrow out, and I'm pretty sure I heard him crash, but it's always fun to follow blood trails. So let's pick it up and let's go. Okay, before we take up the trail here, I've got one more buck tag in Tennessee, but more importantly, I've got a couple buddies I'd like to put on deer. So I've got my Buck Bomb scrape starter kit, and you can see right there is my arrow. And I'm gonna make a little mock scrape right here because these deer are spending a ton of time in this area. I think it'll get some real attention. There's a big limb that fell, and I've got a Stealth Cam Fusion on that tree right there. So I'm gonna make this real quick, and then we're gonna take up the trail. Alright, once again, bear with me here as we track this. I'm doing it myself, but should be a short track. Come through here. Okay, we got blood. He's opening up now. Right there he is. Oh yeah. Yes, that is the kind of blood trail we want. That was the number one. That was the one I had on trail camera the last day of the velvet hunt when I was sitting in an airport coming home from the get-together. It all ended up working out. Yes. Well, here he is, and I could not be any happier. I actually had a lot of pictures of this deer going back to when I first set cameras out, and he's actually the same deer that I had pictures of on the last day of velvet season when I was in the airport. And I really thought that I was going to have a crack at this deer right off the bat when season opened. I had daylight pictures of him 2 days before season opened, and then him and the other 2 shooters were gone, and didn't see him again until 2 mornings ago. And I got pictures of him on the stealth cam at like 8:50 in the morning. It was him, which I was calling him my number 1 deer. They're all 3 real similar, but I said this was the number 1. I had pictures of the number 1 and the number 2. And honestly, if you'd asked me a week ago, I felt like I was going to kill the number 3 deer first, because I'd had quite a few pictures of him over the last week, but it was always, you know, just before daylight or just after dark, and I figured at some point or another I would run into him. But I'm happy it ended up being this deer. It's really cool how his main beams sweep all the way in the front. And we just had an awesome hunt. I can't say enough about how awesome this place is hunted this year. This is by far probably the best year that I've had on this property in 15 years. I didn't have as many any real big deer, but I had several good ones like this one right here. This is a great East Tennessee buck, but it's getting warm already, and I'm gonna try and get him cleaned up. Until next time, bow hunt or die.
That's a good start. Just as I was getting camera light, that doe came from back behind me. What I was hoping would happen, from food, going back towards bedding, even though she went in the corn. They were circling downwind, flew all around me. That one came by at 10 yards right past the tree. Turkey vultures. But the fact that they're downwind, I think I should take offense to that. They're just sitting there. I don't know what they were circling over down there. And they're just hanging out. Hopefully they're waiting because they know I'm going to kill them. other than a buck, that would be my other goal, is to shoot a coyote. Oh man, 2 of them over there. I don't know, there might be something dead. These two stopped and munched by that tree. And it looked like they might be coming this way. Gotta keep an eye out, unfortunately. That was awesome. Oh man, I love shooting coyotes. Those things have tore up so many of my deer that I've shot. Buzz that I shot out of the stand. Not far from that coyote just to the left here. I wasn't sure if that shot was liver, I thought, and I let that deer sit and coyotes ate it. I just saw those 2 over there, and he came all the way around, and that one, I don't know if that's the one I just saw here, but it seemed like he smelled me. So I squeezed some more. He must have went around, came through the woods, and popped up right in front of me. Perfect. It's 7:50. I think I'm gonna pack up here in 15 minutes. I've got 2 cameras I want to put out. And there's a rub down here. Might be a scrape back behind me. So I'm gonna put one probably in just inside the woods. We got a Stealth Cam 4K, and then got the wireless one somewhere right here. Let's see if I can find a scrape. Otherwise, maybe I'll use one of the buck bombs, scrape generator strips, set one up. Look at walking away from the tree here. Just want to stand that, and it's kind of the point of impact. Oh yeah. Oof. There is a million flies on it already. Let's see if we can find the arrow. Blood, and coyote. Yeah. Smoke the root. Spitfire XXX. Unfortunately, a lot of blood. But here he is. It's a male. Nice, big, mature coyote. And honestly guys, this is like my second preferred thing to be shooting out here outside of bucks. These coyotes have just been terrorizing our deer on this property, and this is the one where you guys have seen a few of my deer after I've shot them got chewed on. One was within an hour, midday, a couple years ago. That was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Buzz, got to those. Just seems like one of Tim's does. It's one of those that even within 45 minutes these things are on them, because we have way too many of them. So anytime I can put one on the ground, I love doing that. And that's what I was able to do this morning. Lip squeaked. him all the way in. And after I saw him and one other one off in the distance, they came in. I think the other one, I don't know if it was this one or the other one, was coming at 45 yards and then kind of may have caught my wind. And then this one popped out. This is only 30 yards away from that, right at 25, 24 yards, and made a good shot. Double lunged and ended up, actually it looks like it went through the shoulder, so it probably hit heart too. Didn't go a couple yards. So what a successful opening morning for me. And you know, not quite the usual deer hunt, but I'll take it anytime I can get one of these coyotes down and help control the population. So hope all you guys are getting out, be safe, and good luck. Bow hunt or die.
Boom! We got a buck down before we went to Illinois. I'm gonna sit here and soak it in, make a few texts, calls, let the boys know. It's awesome. This is what we live for right here. Perfect.